Patrick and I both grew up in the Bay Area too, so we kind of did grow up surrounded by startups and whatnot. So I guess in high school, I'd always kind of thought that I wanted to do it, but I hadn't actually done it. So I guess coming into Michigan, I was looking for a company to start my freshman year, and I was actually working on something for a few months, just kind of talking to restaurants at the time and trying to do a pilot. And I was typing out an email to a restaurant owner in class, and some person next to me was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sending out this email. Here's this thing I'm kind of working on." And they said, "You need to talk to Patrick Skelly. He has this food delivery startup that he's running, and I think that he's like the best startup person on campus. He's a sophomore." So got his number from the kid, texted Patrick. We met up at Chipotle. And fortunately, at that time, he was actually now in the process of selling that old business. And he then approached me with the idea of Line Leap and very quickly decided to ditch what I was working on and start that with him and then our other co-founder that went to Wisconsin.
Yeah. So essentially for me, like Nick kind of mentioned, freshman year jumped into an early stage startup. So was like the first person hired at Michigan to do, it was called Envoy now. So it's on campus food delivery. We would essentially deliver directly to your dorm room or wherever you were on campus. And worked on that my freshman year, caught the entrepreneurial bug, knew that I wanted to do a startup and was able to learn a lot through that. I was doing a lot of the sales and marketing and the expansion there. Then, as that winded down to a close, I was really like still super into startups, wanting to do something kind of on my own, obviously with other people that I had either met through the last startup I was working on, and then Nick, who I met on campus. And then for Line Leap, so when we started the company, we were just turning 21. So it's kind of like our first thing with bars. Like we were really just starting to go with bars. Our first meetings, honestly, Nick would have to stay outside some of the meetings because he wasn't yet 21. And we were very like, no, like we promise this is just for business purposes only. But yeah, I guess the idea stemmed from there are a couple things on campus at the time. There was a Skeeps Black card, which was essentially like a membership card that you could use to skip the line that Skeeps would sell for like, I don't know how much it was,
Couple
$2,000,
grand,
couple
yeah.
$1,000. Yeah, so that was one option. Then they had a line skipping app called Byline that was essentially a lot like what Line Leap's kind of initial product was. Then there's Line Hop, which was like a line reporting service. And then they also for Rick's were like experimenting with like a fast pass option. So essentially, we went in and talked with the Rick's owner, which was really like I would say when the idea became concrete was essentially we just talked to the Rick's owner. We talked to him about everything else that was going on in the space, the byline, the line hop, the Skeeps card, asked him if he used anything like a Rick's card here. And then also just trying to got to know his business. And the most exciting parts for Nick and I were that you could make money out of thin air with the line skip. So that was super exciting to us. And then also the backdrop to him was all like binders full of all of his sales, like no point of sale system. Doesn't like we had this giant list of questions that we were asking him, like, how do you communicate with your customers? Like, what do you do for inventory? All this stuff. And he was like so many of his answers were like him pointing at his head
And
and
even
just
the
like,
market, I mean, the way that like these venue owners market to their customers is posting on their Instagram or like telling their staff to tell their friends about it. And so there just wasn't, there's a lot more sophistication on the marketing side in other industries. So it's super interesting to learn that like they didn't actually have a good way to market to their customers, which we just thought that if we could come out the product and get users using it, that maybe it could even become a marketing platform down the road too.